His career is the stuff of legend. 5 rings, 2 finals MVPs in 1 regular season, 18 All-Star games, 2 scoring titles, and a slam dunk competition to boot. From Italy to Philly to LA, from high school to the association. We watched him take Brandy to the prom, and months later he was checking the greatest to ever play the game. Called by Magic, the greatest Laker ever. It's hard to imagine him in anything other than purple and gold. But what if it went a different way? What if LA wasn't the destination? This is Sports What If, Kobe Bryant. The 1996 NBA draft is as good as it gets. 4 Hall of Famers, 10 All-Stars, and 1 iconic Slam magazine photo shoot. And it all starts with the 13th pick of the Charlotte Hornets, Kobe Bryant. Bryant was from a suburb of Philly, and his hometown Sixers had the first overall pick. But there was no way that they weren't picking Allen Iverson out of Georgetown.
With the first pick in the 1996 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Allen Iverson from Georgetown University.
It's at pick 2 with Toronto where the intrigue begins, with Raptors executive vice president Isaiah Thomas even ready to pull the trigger on Bryant with the 2nd pick. Thomas was quoted saying, "We had scouted Kobe and we were going to take Kobe at 2, and I got a call from Joe Bryant, Kobe's father, and I got a call from Jerry West." Those phone calls were not promising, with Jelly Bean telling Thomas he did not want his son playing in Canada. But the limited scouting they did on Kobe must have been impressive, considering they still wanted to take Bryant despite refusing to work out for Toronto. Looking at the 96-97 Raptors roster, I don't know if even Kobe himself could have turned them into a winner. Something Marcus Camby couldn't do either, who they ended up taking with the 2nd overall pick. With the Lakers not picking until 24, there was no way of them getting Kobe without moving up. So they arranged to ship center Vlade Divac to the Hornets in exchange for the 13th pick if Kobe was available. But first he had to make it to 13. And one team in the way was the New Jersey Nets at pick 8. GM John Nash was completely sold on Bryant at 8. Unfortunately, new head coach John Calipari wasn't fully on board. It wasn't that he wasn't sold on Kobe, maybe he just feared the possible repercussions. Like the phone call Kobe reportedly made to Coach Cal saying he didn't want to play for the Nets, and if Jersey took him, he would go play professionally in Italy. Not to mention the Nets ownership wanted nothing to do with the high schooler, instead wanting John Wallace of Syracuse. And then there was David Falk. Back in '96, he was Michael Jordan's agent and had more power than anyone in the NBA not named David Stern. And he wanted his client, Kerry Kittles, on the Nets, with Falk reportedly calling Calipari and saying that if they didn't take Kittles, no other Falk client would ever play for the Nets again. And if that's not enough, then there's this great anecdote from Bobby Marks, Nets assistant of basketball operations at the time, and made the mistake of putting one of the 10 best players in NBA history, 6'6" Kobe Bryant, in the middle seat on a 5-hour flight to LA. Something Kobe's agent Arm Tellem was livid about, and something Bobby Marks thought contributed to Bryant not wanting to play for the Nets. After all that, Coach Cal made the decision, saying, quote, "If Kittles is on board, we're drafting him. And if he's not there, we're taking Kobe Bryant." Kittles was there, and the Nets took him at 8. And after 2.5 seasons in New Jersey and a .391 winning percentage, John Calipari was fired by the Nets, and then went on to become one of the greatest coaches in college basketball history. Something that likely doesn't happen if they draft Bryant.
With the 13th pick in the 1996 NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
So after the Nets passed on Kobe, everything was lining up for LA. He fell to 13, Charlotte took him, and they made the Divac trade, and the rest is Lakers championship history. But there is one more what-if element to this story that also affects another Hall of Famer from this draft, as Danny Ainge thought his sons had a shot at Kobe at pick 15. But with Kobe going 2 picks before Phoenix was on the clock, they had to settle for the Santa Clara point guard no one had really heard about. Future Hall of Famer, Steve Nash.